Political outsiders, so-called, are surging in the first national poll following the Republican presidential debate. The latest Fox News poll shows Trump leading the field by a wide margin, 25%. Dr. Carson in second place, 12%, followed by Cruz and Bush. Fiorina also getting a bump after the debate. The latest Fox polls also showing trouble for Hillary Clinton, as you might expect. Two Republicans top the Democratic frontrunner in a hypothetical matchup. Jeb Bush leading Clinton 44 to 42%. Marco Rubio ahead of Hillary for the first time, leading by 2 points. Well, now back with us, Republican strategist, Fox News contributor Karl Rove. Much of the country not fascinated by all that fascinates us and this audience. But the fact is, this is an amazing poll performance by Donald Trump. It's an amazing performance in terms of free media. What in the world are these candidates going to do to break through?
Well, look, they've got plenty of time to do so. Remember, in August of 2011, Rick Perry led the field by a bigger margin than does Donald Trump today. Right. He had 38% of the vote. Take a look at the lead that Rudy Giuliani had in 2007. Very big lead. In Iowa, for example, at this point, Mitt Romney led in 2007 by 34%. The guy who nipped him, who got 35%, was at 3 in August. So there's a lot of movement possible. The question is, what kind of a message, what kind of an organization, what kind of resources are they going to be able to bring to bear? And then how durable is Trump? And does he have a high floor and a low ceiling, or a high floor and a big ceiling?
What is interesting is that two candidates that you talked about, as we've discussed, that are paying a price here, Rubio and Bush, they also are the strongest against Clinton.
Well, and we have three of them. Bush had a 6-point drop. Rubio, I think, had a 3, and Scott Walker had a 3. Scott Walker had a bigger drop in Iowa, where he'd been the front runner. Right. But again, these things are going to vibrate around. We're in the summer. What we ought to be looking at is two things. One is, why is Trump doing as well as he's doing?
Why is it?
Well, because, look, there are a bunch of people in our party and a bunch of people in America who are deeply concerned about the direction of the country. And they want somebody to stand up and take a brick and throw it through the plate glass window. Right. And he's doing that right now. Now, the question is, over time, is he going to be able to train to go from being the voice of that concern, of that deep anger about the direction of the country, to being somebody that we can see sitting behind the desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States? And look, you and I both know some of his friends, and sure. I know what some of the people that you and I know have been saying to him, and they've been saying you're making a big mistake by being as rough as you are on your competitors personally. It's diminishing to you and doesn't help the cause. And more importantly, they've said you really need to do something about disavowing any chance of a third party, because it's hurting you and it's hurting the greater cause. And today began to make noises that he was going to get rid of the option, of the third party option. So that's probably a hopeful sign if he's listening to his friends who are giving him that kind of good advice.
I know that the excitement in the Republican establishment would be palpable if Trump were to do that, and at the same time even extend further his lead. You and I both know, speaking of similar people that we share in common, they're just having a fit. They cannot stand this. It may be early days, as you suggested, and certainly you're right. But what Trump is doing right now is unnerving the politicos.
Well, and to some reason, look, I understand that, because, look, today he put out his immigration plan. Right. And remember, he was critical of Mitt Romney after 2012, saying basically his call for self-deportation was an utter disaster, hurt him with the Latino vote. Trump was highly critical of him. And what did he do? He calls for, in essence, not self-deportation, but deportation. We're going to go take all of those people, arrest them, and run them out of the country, even if they have kids who were born in the United States. Now, the cost of that's going to be enormous. We did a thought experiment in 2005 and 2006 looking at that. Back then, that was going to cost $84 billion. But more important than that is, do you really want the party to be sitting there and saying, some kid who was born in the United States, whose parents were here illegally, they're a U.S. citizen under existing law, we're going to throw them out of the country with their parents and sell that to the country? As bad as the self-deportation line is, that's right up there.
Well, in fairness to Trump, what he is calling for is a deportation of those who enter the country illegally. And by the way,
but plus their families. He was asked explicitly about that, and he said, yes, they're going to have to leave with their families. Right. And then we'll find a way to bring them back. There are better ways to go. You and I both know there are better ways to go about dealing with the people who are here illegally.
Your boss in 2006 had an opportunity to do some very positive things. He chose to perpetuate this.
No, he did not. He did not.
Well,
he absolutely did not. I know what that legislation was about.
And I'm not talking about the legislation. That was McCain and Kennedy. I'm talking about he had the choice of creating a compromise and leading on the issue instead of continuing to talk about a guest worker program. And the fact is we had 13 guest worker programs. There has been so much unintentionally, I'm sure, disinformation about immigration and its impact.
You're right. We had guest worker programs, and they worked. And what he wanted to do was to put those all in one big package and regularize it and make it market-driven.
The issue was to secure the border.
And that's why we were in favor of and did triple the size of the Border Patrol budget and double the size of the Border Patrol and put technology on the border. And we ended catch and release, which had been around since Ronald Reagan.
Karl Rove.
You and I both know that Bush put enormous amounts of resources into helping secure the border because he felt it was a violation of the law.
Look, I'm from Texas, too. There's one simple thing that results, and that is the result. How much was illegal immigration?
Dramatically cut. And not only that, but dramatically cut. No. And I'll get you the numbers. Dramatically cut. Plus, we had a significant increase in deportations, and we prioritized, put a high priority. This is what sickens me about the Obama administration.
The only thing that reversed, we're going to go too far. Right. Let me just conclude this with a fact. The fact is the only thing that reversed the flow of illegal immigration was, in fact, the recession of 2008.
I disagree. Tougher enforcement of the border and prioritizing criminals and working with local law enforcement to prioritize getting those people out of the country.
You tell me why in the world there's any excuse for this country to even be talking about illegal immigration. Both parties have been complicit with the Chamber of Commerce, the Business Roundtable, and this farce has to end. I'm not saying it's a Trump plan, but I am saying this. Initial bargaining positions have been pretty weak to this point, whether it's from the Republicans or the Democrats.
Well, I disagree.
I know, but that's why you and I get along.
That's right.
We can disagree. Good to see you.
Thank you, Lou. Appreciate it.
Karl Rove.